Kiwoo stretched his arms as he climbed out of his cargo ship. The metal floor of Kepler Station felt cold under his boots. He had made this trip many times before. Today was supposed to be just like any other day. His ship carried medical supplies for the outer colonies. Simple work that paid well enough. The station buzzed with activity around him. Aliens of all kinds walked past. Some looked like giant insects. Others had scales like reptiles. A few floated in clear suits filled with gas. Kiwoo had learned not to stare. Most aliens were friendly enough, but they all seemed nervous around humans. He never understood why. "Next," called a voice from the security checkpoint. Kiwoo walked forward with his papers. The security chief was a Vorthak named Haijin. She had green scales and yellow eyes that could see in many different light types. They had met several times before. She always processed his paperwork quickly. "Good morning, Kiwoo," Haijin said. Her voice made a slight hissing sound. "Same cargo as usual?" "Medical supplies for the Outer Ring colonies," Kiwoo replied. He handed over his manifest. "Should be a quick inspection." Haijin looked at the papers. Everything seemed normal. She nodded toward the bioscanner. "You know the routine. Step through when the light turns green." Kiwoo had done this hundreds of times. The bioscanner was a large archway that checked for weapons, diseases, and dangerous materials. It used advanced technology that could see inside a person's body. Most scans took only a few seconds. He stepped up to the scanner. The light turned green. Kiwoo walked through slowly. Immediately, red lights began flashing. A loud alarm filled the air. Kiwoo stopped in the middle of the archway, confused. He looked back at Haijin, who was staring at her display screen. "Stay right where you are," Haijin said. Her voice was much more serious now. So Young, a young Clixon scanner operator, made a chittering sound of panic. Her insect-like face turned toward Haijin. "Chief, you need to see this reading." Haijin rushed over to So Young's station. Her eyes grew wide as she looked at the screen. The display showed Kiwoo's body in detail, but what she saw made no sense. "This can't be right," Haijin whispered. "Run the scan again." "I already ran it 3 times, So Young replied. Her many eyes blinked rapidly. "The readings are the same every time." Kiwoo stood still in the scanner. Other travelers in line behind him began to murmur and point. Security guards moved closer. "Is there a problem?" Kiwoo asked. Haijin ignored his question. She pressed several buttons on the control panel. The scanner hummed louder as it ran a deeper scan. More alarms began to sound. "Station security to checkpoint 7. Haijin spoke into her communicator. "We have a code yellow situation. Send backup immediately." Kiwoo felt his heart start to beat faster. Code yellow meant a serious security threat, but he was just a cargo pilot. He carried no weapons. His medical supplies were completely legal. "Ma'am, I don't understand what's happening," Kiwoo said. "My cargo is clean. I have all the right papers." Haijin looked at him with something that might have been fear. "Sir, please step out of the scanner slowly. Keep your hands where we can see them." Kiwoo did as she asked. He raised his hands and stepped forward. More security guards arrived. They carried weapons but did not point them at him yet. "What does the scanner show?" Kiwoo asked. So Young looked at Haijin, who nodded slightly. The young alien's voice shook as she spoke. "Sir, the scanner shows that your body has been exposed to class Thewithine quantum disruptor radiation." Kiwoo frowned. "I don't know what that means." "It means," Haijin said slowly, "that you have been exposed to the radiation from a planetary annihilation weapon. A planet-killer bomb." The checkpoint became very quiet. Even the background noise of the station seemed to fade away. Other travelers stepped back, giving Kiwoo more space. "But sir," So Young continued, "that type of radiation should have killed you instantly. No known life form can survive exposure to class Thewithine quantum disruptors. The radiation breaks down matter at the atomic level." Kiwoo looked around at all the staring faces. Guards, travelers, and station workers all watched him with a mixture of fear and confusion. "There must be some mistake," Kiwoo said. "I feel fine. I'm healthy." Haijin shook her head. "The scanner doesn't make mistakes about radiation signatures. But according to our database, you should be dead. Not just dead, you should have been completely vaporized." More security personnel arrived. Kiwoo noticed that some of them wore full protective suits as if he might be dangerous just by standing there. "Sir, we're going to need you to come with us for additional screening," Haijin said. She tried to keep her voice calm, but Kiwoo could hear the worry in it. "Am I under arrest?" Kiwoo asked. "No, sir. This is just a routine investigation. We need to understand these scanner readings. Kiwoo knew he had no choice. He nodded and allowed the guards to escort him away from the checkpoint. As they walked, he heard other aliens whispering to each other in languages he didn't understand. Behind them, So-Young continued staring at her scanner display. The radiation signature was clear and unmistakable. According to every scientific database in the Galactic Union, the human walking away from her should not exist. Hei-Jin returned to her station and opened a secure communication channel. She input a special code that she had never used before in her 20 years of station security work. This is Kepler, Station Security Chief. Hei-Jin requesting immediate contact with Galactic Union Central Command, she said into the communicator. State. The nature of your emergency, came the, reply. Hei-Jin looked at So-Young's scanner readings one more time. The data still showed the same impossible result. We have encountered a human who appears to have survived a superweapon attack, she said. Request immediate assistance from xenobiology specialists. There was a long pause on the other end of the communication. Did you say survived a superweapon? The voice asked. Confirmed. The bioscanner shows clear evidence of class-dying quantum disruptor exposure. But the subject is alive and appears to be in perfect health. Another pause, even longer this time. Maintain quarantine protocols. Do not allow the subject to leave the station. A specialist team will arrive within 6 hours. The communication ended. Hei-Jin sat back in her chair and looked at the busy checkpoint around her. Aliens continued to pass through the scanners without incident. Everything looked normal, but she knew that nothing would be normal again. If humans could survive planet-killer weapons, what else could they survive? And more importantly, how many other humans carried similar radiation signatures? For the first time in her career, Hei-Jin felt truly afraid. Not of Kiwoo himself, but of what his existence might mean for the rest of the galaxy. Kiwoo sat in a small white room with no windows. The chair was uncomfortable and made for someone much larger than him. A guard stood outside the door. Every few minutes, different aliens would walk by and look at him through the glass window. He had been waiting for 3 hours. No one would tell him what was happening. They brought him water and food, but no answers. Kiwoo tried to stay calm, but worry grew in his chest. The door opened and a tall alien entered. This one looked different from the others Kiwoo had seen. It had smooth gray skin and large black eyes. Its movements were quick and precise. I am Taemin, the alien said. Its voice sounded musical, like singing. I am a xenobiologist with the Galactic Union. I study different life forms. Why am I here? Kiwoo asked. I haven't done anything wrong. Taemin set a small device on the table between them. May I scan you again? My equipment is more advanced than the station scanners. Kiwoo shrugged. I guess so. Will you tell me what's going on after? I will try to explain, Taemin said. The device hummed softly and projected a blue light over Kiwoo's body. Taemin watched readings appear on a small screen. As the scan continued, the alien's large eyes grew even wider. Fascinating, Taemin whispered. Absolutely fascinating. What's fascinating? Kiwoo asked. Taemin looked up from the device. Your cellular structure has been fundamentally altered. The quantum disruptor radiation didn't just touch you. It changed you at the most basic level. Changed me how? Your DNA now carries markers that I have never seen before. Instead of destroying your cells, the radiation caused them to evolve, to adapt. Your body learned to not just survive the radiation, but to use it somehow. Kiwoo felt confused. I don't understand any of this. Neither do I, Taemin admitted. This should be impossible. Quantum disruptor weapons work by breaking apart the bonds that hold atoms together. No living thing should be able to adapt to that kind of damage. The door opened again. A female voice spoke from the hallway. Excuse me, I'm looking for my brother. Kiwoo stood up quickly. Hei-Jin? His sister appeared in the doorway. She was shorter than Kiwoo, with kind eyes and graying hair. She wore the uniform of a cargo pilot like him. What have you done now? Hei-Jin asked with a small smile. But Kiwoo could see the worry on her face. Nothing, Kiwoo said. Their scanner found something strange and now they won't let me leave. A security guard appeared behind Hei-Jin. Ma'am, you'll need to submit to a bioscan before you can enter this area. Fine, Hei-Jin said. Let's get this over with. Taemin looked interested. You are related to this human? He's my younger brother, Hei-Jin said. We both work cargo runs in this sector. Would you mind if I scan you as well? Taemin asked. For comparison purposes? Yejin looked at Kiwoo, who nodded. I suppose that's okay. Taemin activated the scanning device again. This time the readings made the alien step backward in surprise. What is it? Yejin asked. You also carry radiation markers, Taemin said slowly, but they're different from your brother's. Your exposure pattern suggests a different type of quantum weapon entirely. Kiwoo and Yejin looked at each other. Yejin's face had gone pale. How is that possible? Kiwoo asked. Yejin sat down heavily in the other chair. Do you remember when we were kids? When we lived on New Sol? Kiwoo nodded. New Sol was a human colony world. They had moved away when he was 12 years old. Do you remember why we left? Yejin asked. Kiwoo thought back. His memories from that time were fuzzy. There was some kind of accident, wasn't there? An industrial explosion? Yejin shook her head. It wasn't an accident, Kiwoo. New Sol was attacked. A ship appeared one day and fired a weapon at the planet. Most people died instantly. The room became very quiet. Taemin listened carefully to every word. But we survived, Yejin continued. A few hundred of us survived when 40 million people should have all died. The government told us never to talk about it. They said it would cause panic. I don't remember any of that, Kiwoo said. You were very sick afterward. The doctor said you might not remember things clearly from that time. Taemin made notes on a small pad. What happened to the other survivors? They scattered, Yejin said. Different families went to different worlds. The government gave us new identities and new jobs. They told us to live normal lives and never mention what happened. And you never reported this attack to the Galactic Union? Taemin asked. Yejin looked surprised. Why would we? Earth handles its own problems. Taemin stared at her. A planet-killer weapon was used against a human colony and your government didn't report it? Should they have? Yejin asked. Before Taemin could answer, an alarm began sounding throughout the station. A voice came over the speakers. Security alert level red. All personnel report to emergency stations. The door burst open and Jin rushed in. Taemin, we have a problem. Galactic Union Command just sent an emergency message. They're sending a full military xenobiology team. Why? Taemin asked. Because, Jin said, looking at Kiwoo and Yejin, they want to know how many more humans like these two are out there. Taemin's device beeped. New data appeared on the screen. The alien looked at the readings and made a sound of shock. What now? Jin asked. I ran a full genetic analysis, Taemin said. These humans don't just carry markers from one weapon exposure. Their DNA shows evidence of multiple different quantum weapon attacks. Yejin sighed. Oh, that. What do you mean that? Jin demanded. Well, Yejin said slowly, New Sol wasn't the only time. There have been other incidents over the years. Different colonies, different attacks. Earth keeps track of them, but they're classified information. Kiwoo stared at his sister. How many other times? Yejin counted on her fingers. For our family? Maybe 6 or 7 times total. But I know other families who have been through more. The room fell silent again. Taemin looked at the readings on the scanner. Jin stared at the two humans as if seeing them for the first time. 6 or 7 planet-killer attacks, Taemin said slowly, and you both survived all of them. We're pretty lucky, I guess, Kiwoo said. Jin activated her communicator. Command, this is Security Chief Jin. We need to speak with Earth's government immediately. Why? Came the reply. Jin looked at Kiwoo and Yejin, 2 normal-looking humans who had somehow survived multiple superweapon attacks and never thought it was worth mentioning. Because, she said, I think we've been completely wrong about everything. The conference room on Kepler Station had never held so many important people at once. Kiwoo sat at one end of a long table, still wearing his simple pilot's uniform. Around him sat aliens in military dress, scientists with complex equipment, and officials with serious expressions. Jinho entered the room last. He was a Zenthari, one of the oldest and most respected species in the Galactic Union. His blue skin had intricate patterns that showed his high rank. When Jinho spoke, others listened. I am here, Jinho announced, to understand how a cargo pilot survived a Class 13 quantum weapon and never reported it. Kiwoo shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Sir, I didn't know I was supposed to report anything. I was just a kid when it happened. Jinho sat across from him. Tell me about New Sol. Kiwoo looked around the room. All eyes were on him. I don't remember much. I was 12. There was a bright light one day and then I got very sick. My parents said we had to leave quickly. What do you remember about being sick? I had a fever for weeks. My hair fell out. I couldn't eat solid food for months. Kiwoo paused. But lots of kids got sick that way. It was normal. Jinho made notes on a tablet. Normal for children to lose their hair and become severely ill? Normal for the survivors, Kiwoo said. The adults explained that we had been exposed to industrial chemicals. They said we would get better with time. And did you get better? Kiwoo nodded. Eventually. Though I never got sick again after that, not even with colds. Taemin leaned forward. Jinho. His immune system appears to have been completely rebuilt by the radiation exposure. His body now produces antibodies I've never seen before. Jinho turned to another official. Contact Earth immediately. I want to speak with their government. A hologram projector activated in the center of the table. After a few minutes, a woman's face appeared. She had gray hair and wore a formal blue suit. Her expression was calm but alert. I am Da-un, human ambassador to the Galactic Union, she said. How may I help you? Jinho stood. Ambassador, we have detained one of your citizens after discovering he carries radiation signatures from superweapon exposure. We need to understand why this was never reported. Dayan looked at Kiwoo through the hologram. May I ask which incident you're referring to? The attack on New Seoul 15 years ago, Jinho said. Ah, Da-un said. That would be classified under our Colonial Defense Act. May I ask why you're investigating this now? Jinho felt his patience wearing thin. Because your citizen should be dead, Ambassador. No known life form can survive quantum disruptor radiation. Daeun smiled slightly. Well, clearly some life forms can, since he's sitting right there. Ambassador, Taemin interrupted. Our scans show this human has been exposed to multiple different superweapons. How is this possible? Daeun was quiet for a moment. How many exposure signatures did you detect? Taemin checked his notes. At least 7 different quantum weapon types, possibly more. 7? Daeun looked surprised. Kiwoo, is it? You've had a difficult life, haven't you? Kiwoo shrugged. I guess so. Though it doesn't feel difficult. It's just life. Jinho leaned toward the hologram. Ambassador, I need you to explain how humans are surviving superweapon attacks. Da-un considered this for a moment. Jinho, may I speak plainly? Please do. Humans don't consider survival remarkable enough to report to the Galactic Union. We assumed you knew. The room fell silent. Jinho stared at the hologram. What do you mean? I mean, Da-un said, that various hostile species have been testing superweapons on human colonies for about a century now. We survive the attacks, rebuild, and continue on with our lives. It never occurred to us that this was unusual. Taemin made a choking sound. A century of superweapon attacks? Give or take, Da-un said. The exact number depends on how you classify different weapon types. Jinho sat down heavily. How many attacks are we talking about? Daeun looked at something off-screen. According to our records, Earth and its colonies have experienced 17 confirmed superweapon attacks. That includes plasma bombardments, quantum disruptors, biological planet killers, and at least 2 attempts at core collapse weapons. Core collapse weapons? Jinho whispered. Those were theoretical weapons that could destroy an entire planet's gravitational field. Those didn't work very well, Da-un said. They caused some earthquakes, but nothing too serious. Kiwoo looked around the table at the shocked faces. Is this bad? Should I be worried? Jinho ignored him. Ambassador, who was responsible for these attacks? Various groups, Da-un said. The hegemony tested their new planet killer on New Seoul. The Korthex Empire tried biological weapons on 3 different colonies. Some extinct species called the Vorthak used plasma bombs on Earth itself. The Vorthak have been extinct for 200 years, Heijin said suddenly. Not extinct, Daeun corrected. Hiding. They attacked Earth about 50 years ago. We managed to capture a few of them before they escaped. What happened to the captured Vorthak? Jinho asked. They're living on Earth now, Da-un said. Nice people once you get past the whole trying to kill everyone thing. They make excellent farmers. The room was completely silent. Jinho stared at the hologram as if it might explain everything. Let me understand this correctly, he said slowly. Species that attack Earth with superweapons end up living on Earth as farmers. Not all of them, Da-un said. Some become teachers or work in manufacturing. We try to find jobs that match their skills. But they attacked you with planet killer weapons. Daeun shrugged. People make mistakes. Once they realize the weapons don't work, most of them become quite friendly. Taemin looked at his scanner readings again. Ambassador, how many humans carry similar radiation signatures to Kiwu? Hard to say exactly, Daeun replied. Most of our population has been exposed to at least one superweapon attack. The children adapt better, so they tend to carry stronger signatures. Most of your population? Jinho asked faintly. Well, yes. When someone attacks a human world, we don't evacuate. We just endure it and keep going. The attacks usually don't last more than a few hours. Kiwu spoke up. Ambassador, am I in trouble? These people seem very upset. Daeun smiled at him through the hologram. No, Kiwu. I think these people are just surprised to learn that humans are harder to kill than they expected. She looked at Jinho. Is there anything else you need to know? Jinho shook his head slowly. He felt like his understanding of the universe had just been turned upside down. Just one more question, he said. Are there any weapons that actually work against humans? Daeun thought for a moment. Sharp sticks are pretty effective, and we're quite vulnerable to cold weather if we don't dress properly. The hologram ended, leaving the conference room in stunned silence. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Union Supreme Council had been called within hours of Jinho's report from Kepler Station. Representatives from every major species gathered in the Great Chamber on the capital world of Zenthos Prime. Subin, the Supreme Council's highest-ranking diplomat, stood at the center of the chamber. Her species, the Akari, were known for staying calm in any crisis. But today, even Subin seemed shaken. We have received disturbing information about the human species, she announced to the assembled delegates. Information that changes everything we thought we knew about galactic security. The chamber buzzed with conversation. Representatives whispered to each other in dozens of different languages. Subin activated a large holographic display. 3 days ago, a routine security scan revealed that a human cargo pilot had survived exposure to a Class Luthien quantum weapon. Further investigation has revealed that this is not an isolated incident. The display showed images of Kiwu's scanner results. Gasps echoed through the chamber as the delegates saw the radiation signatures. How many humans carry these signatures? Asked the representative from the Clixon Collective. According to Earth's government, Subin said, most of their population shows evidence of superweapon exposure. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Some delegates stood up demanding more information. Others activated emergency communicators to contact their homeworlds. Order, Subin called. There is more. The holographic display changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots appeared in various locations. These represent confirmed superweapon attacks on human worlds over the past century, Subin explained. 17 separate incidents involving planet-killer class weapons. A delegate from the hegemony stood up. Impossible. Our records show that our test of the quantum disruptor on New Sol was completely successful. That colony was eliminated. Your records are incorrect, Subin said. 300 humans survived that attack. They rebuilt the colony within 2 years. The hegemony delegate sat down slowly, his face pale. Another delegate spoke up. What about the biological weapons we tested on the human colony of Bright Hope? The colony experienced a brief illness, Subin said. No permanent damage was recorded. Subin activated another hologram. This time, Admiral Hyunwoo of the Earth Defense Force appeared. He was an older human with gray hair and a calm expression. Admiral, Subin said, please explain to the Council how Earth has survived these attacks. Hyunwoo looked around at the assembled delegates. We don't really understand it ourselves, he said. Humans just seem to be very hard to kill permanently. Define hard to kill, requested the Zenthari representative. Well, Hyunwoo said, we've been hit with plasma bombardments that should have sterilized our continents. They gave us some bad sunburns and killed the grass for a few months. He paused to check his notes. We've been attacked with quantum bombs designed to collapse our planet's core. They caused some earthquakes, but nothing we couldn't handle. What about biological weapons? Asked another delegate. Those usually make us sick for a week or two, Hyunwoo said. Then we get better and become immune to that particular disease. The chamber fell silent. Delegates stared at the human admiral as if he had just claimed that water wasn't wet. Admiral, Subin said carefully, are you saying that superweapons simply don't work on humans? I wouldn't say they don't work, Hyunwoo replied. They're quite unpleasant when they hit us. but they don't seem to cause the permanent damage they're designed for. A delegate from the Cortex Empire stood up. Our biological planet killer was tested extensively. It should have eliminated all organic life. Oh, that one, Hyunwoo said. That was about 20 years ago, right? Hit 3 of our colonies? Yes, the Cortex delegate said. Those worlds should be dead rocks by now. They're actually doing quite well, Hyunwoo said. The biological agent did kill most of the plants initially, but new ones grew back within a few years. Stronger than before, actually. That's impossible, the delegate insisted. Hyunwoo shrugged. You're welcome to visit and see for yourself. Beautiful worlds now. Great for farming. Subin pulled up another file. Admiral, our records show that several of the species that attacked Earth have since requested refugee status on human worlds. That's correct, Hyunwoo said. After their weapons didn't work, many of them found themselves in trouble with their own governments. We offered them sanctuary, and they accepted. Most did. The Vorthak refugees have been particularly helpful. They know a lot about sustainable agriculture. A commotion broke out among the delegates. The Vorthak had been considered extinct for 2 centuries. Learning that they were alive and farming on Earth was shocking enough. Learning that they had attacked Earth first was even more surprising. Admiral, Subin said, how do humans view these attacks? Hyunwoo considered the question. Honestly, most people don't think about them much. We're more concerned with everyday problems like weather, crop yields, and whether our children are doing well in school. You consider superweapon attacks less important than weather? Asked the Zenthari representative. Well, Hyunwoo said, bad weather can ruin a harvest and affect millions of people for months. Superweapon attacks usually only last a few hours and then everything goes back to normal. The chamber was completely silent now. Every delegate stared at the hologram of Admiral Hyunwoo. Admiral, Subin said slowly, are there any weapons that actually pose a serious threat to humanity? Hyunwoo thought for a moment. Sharp objects can be dangerous if someone isn't careful. Extreme cold is problematic without proper clothing. And we're quite vulnerable to falls from great heights. What about advanced weapons technology? Most of it seems designed to work against species that are much more fragile than humans, Hyunwoo said. It's like using a hammer to kill an insect. Except the insect doesn't die and the hammer breaks. Subin looked around the chamber at the shocked faces of the delegates. Admiral, one final question, she said. Given humanity's apparent resistance to superweapons, what role do you see Earth playing in galactic security? Hyunwoo smiled. We're happy to help however we can. If other species are having trouble with planet-killer weapons, we'd be glad to share what we've learned about surviving them. And what have you learned? Mostly just keep going and don't panic. The attacks always end eventually, and life gets back to normal pretty quickly. The hologram ended. Subin looked around the chamber at the assembled delegates of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Every one of them looked like they had just learned that their most basic assumptions about the universe were wrong. The council will recess for 1 hour, Subin announced. We need time to process this information. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, many of them were already activating communicators to contact their homeworlds. The galaxy's understanding of warfare, weapons, and the nature of life itself had just changed forever. And it had all started with a simple cargo pilot walking through a security scanner. 6 months after the incident at Kepler Station, Kiwoo found himself in a very different kind of cargo bay. Instead of medical supplies, his ship now carried human doctors, researchers, and something the galaxy had never seen before: survival specialists. The planet below them had been attacked just 3 days earlier. A hegemony splinter group had used a new type of quantum weapon, hoping to claim the world for themselves. The weapon had worked perfectly according to their calculations. The planet should have been a lifeless rock. Instead, nearly 2 million survivors huddled in damaged cities waiting for help. First time seeing this kind of destruction? Asked Dr. Min Ho, a human researcher who specialized in radiation medicine. Kiwoo looked out the window at the scarred planet's surface. No, I've seen it before, but this is the first time I've been part of the rescue mission. The ship landed near the largest survivor camp. As the cargo bay doors opened, Kiwoo could see thousands of aliens from a dozen different species. They looked tired, scared, and sick from radiation exposure. What surprised the survivors was how the humans stepped out of the ship without any protective gear. Kiwoo and his crew breathed the contaminated air as if it were perfectly normal. The radiation levels here would kill most species within hours, said Dr. Minho, as they unloaded medical equipment. But for humans, it's just uncomfortable. An alien doctor from the Klixen species approached them. His insect-like face showed confusion and hope in equal measure. Are you certain it's safe for you to be here without protection? The doctor asked. Dr. Minho checked a handheld scanner. The radiation levels are high, but nothing we can't handle. We've brought medicine that should help your people adapt to the exposure. Adapt? The Klixen doctor asked. Our people are dying from radiation poisoning. They don't have to, Dr. Minho said gently. Human medicine has learned how to help bodies cope with quantum radiation. It's not pleasant, but it works. Kiwu helped unload containers of medical supplies while listening to the conversation. Over the past months, he had learned much more about his own survival. The radiation that should have killed him had instead made him stronger in ways that scientists were still studying. Ye Jin landed her ship nearby. She now worked as a coordinator for human relief efforts. Her experience surviving multiple attacks made her valuable in understanding what other species needed to endure similar trauma. How many survivors? She asked as she approached. About 2 million, Kiwu replied. Mostly families with children. Good, Yejin said. Children adapt faster. They'll have the best chance. A group of alien children approached cautiously. They had been playing near the landing area and were curious about the new arrivals. One small Zenthari child walked right up to Kiwu. Are you here to help us? The child asked. Kiwu knelt down to the child's level. Yes, we're here to help everyone get better. But you're not wearing protection suits, the child said. Aren't you scared of the bad air? Kiwu smiled. The air isn't bad for us, and soon it won't be bad for you either. Dr. Minho had set up a medical station and was examining the first patients. The Klixen doctor watched in amazement as the human doctor worked in radiation levels that should have been immediately fatal. How is this possible? The Klixen doctor asked. Humans adapt to extreme conditions, Dr. Minho explained while treating a patient. We've developed medicines based on how our own bodies learned to survive these attacks. You've been attacked like this before? Many times, Dr. Minho said. We've learned to share what we know with other species. More human ships arrived throughout the day. Each one brought doctors, researchers, and supplies. But more importantly, they brought hope. By evening, the first patients were already showing improvement. The human medicines worked differently than traditional treatments. Instead of just fighting the radiation damage, they helped alien bodies learn to adapt to it. Kiwu sat with the Zenthari child from earlier. The child's family had been among the first to receive treatment. My mom feels better already, the child said. How did you know how to help us? We learned from experience, Kiwu said. Sometimes bad things happen, but they don't have to stay bad forever. Did bad things happen to you too? Kiwu nodded. When I was about your age, something similar happened to my world. It was scary at first, but we got through it. And now you help other people get through it too? That's right, Kiwu said. 3 weeks later, the planet was declared stable. The survivors had not only recovered, but were already beginning to rebuild. The human medical teams had accomplished something the galaxy thought impossible. They had reversed the effects of a superweapon attack. Subin arrived on the final day of the relief mission. She wanted to see the results for herself. This is remarkable, she told Dr. Minho as they walked through the recovering cities. Your people have saved millions of lives. We've shared what we learned from our own experiences, Dr. Minho replied. Nothing more. But you've given these people immunity to quantum weapons. They're now as resistant as humans. Dr. Minho smiled. Not quite as resistant, but much better than they were. Their children will be even stronger. Subin stopped walking. You're creating a galaxy full of superweapon-resistant species. Is that a problem? Dr. Minho asked. Subin thought about this. I suppose it depends on your perspective. For those who rely on superweapons, it might be troubling. For everyone else, it's probably the best news in galactic history. That evening, Kiwu prepared his ship for departure. His cargo bay was empty now, all the medical supplies distributed. But his ship carried something more valuable than cargo. The knowledge that survival was possible. As he walked through the recovered city one last time, alien families waved to him from their rebuilt homes. Children played in streets that had been devastated just weeks before. The Zenthari child he had befriended ran up to him with a small gift. This is for you, the child said, handing Kiwu a carved figure. So you remember us. Kiwoo accepted the gift gratefully. I could never forget you. Will you come back if we need help again? If you need help, we'll be here, Kiwoo promised. As his ship lifted off from the planet, Kiwoo looked down at the lights of the recovering cities. He thought about the scanner that had started everything, the machine that detected his scars from surviving a superweapon. The scanner had been right. He had survived a superweapon. But what the scanner couldn't measure was that survival was just the beginning. The real strength came from using that survival to help others find their own way through darkness. Kiwoo set course for his next destination. Another world had been attacked, and another species needed to learn that they too could survive the impossible. Behind him, the planet continued to heal. Its people were now part of a growing galaxy-wide community of survivors, species that had learned from humanity that endurance and adaptation were more powerful than any weapon. The age of superweapons was ending. The age of survival had begun, and it had all started with one human walking through a security scanner, carrying scars that told a story of hope.